right? So this got me thinking, and this got me started up, right? A friend wrote on his WhatsApp status, he wrote that many people in this generation, we want the glory, but we don't want the story. And it made me think, I was like, this thing is true. Many people want to cut corners to getting big, to blowing, to being used by God, but they don't want to go through the process because most people know that that process is rigorous, and there are some people that will even dump the glory just not to go through the process if they see what the process is all about, right? And the first person that came to mind was David. David, he was already anointed to be king, but the process David had to go through, the wilderness and all. Many people now call it wilderness experience, some people call it brokenness, but that process wasn't pleasant. And the interesting thing with David's case is that he was not the architect of his own brokenness. He killed Goliath, and he had other people chanting, Saul has killed this amount of people, but David has killed much, much more. And it got Saul started up, that Saul started pursuing to kill David because he didn't want David to take his place. And that was all what led to David going to the wilderness. But we notice that in the wilderness, David learned more and more that his whole support, his whole source was God. Everything that has to do with him was God. And if God doesn't help him, he can't be anything. He will be dead. And he understand that. And the whole wilderness experience made him go closer and draw closer to God. And we see that most of his heartfelt writings or psalms were all done mostly when he was in his wilderness experience, right? And it made him that even when he became king, he knew that it was God that was his source and his support for everything. With all his highs and lows, he knew that he needed to be focused and rooted in God. And that's one of the reasons why we need that whole process, for us to be strong in faith, for us to know that our whole source of support and guidance and livelihood is God. And once we have that, when we become kings, God will be our refuge still. Because when we don't go through that process, sometimes we might lose it. We might think that we got there on our own. When we get to be kings, we might decide to run away from God. And that's what God doesn't want from us, right? I would like all of us to embrace having a story, having a process, having an experience. And I want to give credit to my friend John Davo for writing this on his WhatsApp story that made me started up, right? Thank you and have a nice day. Peace.